watching Daybreak here on Arise News. We're coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Time for the press preview. Let's take a look at what's on the front pages as they come in. We begin with our sister publication, This Morning. Its leading story, Sultan of Sokoto says Nigeria sitting on a keg of gunpowder. Says youth unemployment poses grave danger. Also laments nation's economic hardship. I think everyone is lamenting that. Declares people deeply frustrated and hungry. That big story is on page 9. The leading photo for this morning, with the caption, Abiodun's 5 billion naira intervention fund to cushion hardship. This was yesterday when the governor announced palliatives to the residents of Ogun State. Meanwhile, President Tinubu, student loan scheme to become operational in 2 weeks. Sanwo-Olu to the UK, that's the governor of Lagos, consider Lagos destination of choice for investments. The governor distributes 750 million naira trader money to 15,000 beneficiaries. Says this initiative will stimulate economic activities in the food market. We will work with Nigeria to reduce barriers of trade, says the UK Trade Secretary Kemi Badenoch. Above the nameplate of this morning, in the black strip there, Dangote Refinery exports first cargo of 65,000 metric tons of low sulfur fuel oil. And Bayelsa to immortalize Wigwe as Adeboye, Sanwo-Olu, Adeola, Adelusi, Adeluyi visit deceased parents. That's this morning.
The Daily Trust features a photograph of military busting gun factory in Plateau State. You have the display there. But the big story on the front page this morning is that of comments on the state of the nation by the Sultan. Hardship, Nigeria sitting on keg of gunpowder, says the Sultan. We will distribute 42,000 metric tons of grains for free. Federal government tells citizens no crashing food prices is better, says experts. Christian Association of Nigeria, the Nigerian Bar Association demand concrete action. Zulum, the governor of Borno, Abiodun, the governor of Ogun State, and Sanwo-Olu, governor of Lagos, unveil their own measures. Below the masthead for the Daily Trust this morning, 60 reps proposed bill to return Nigeria to parliamentary system. That's interesting. Upstream Commission transfer over 200 staff to Lagos. Amid economic hardship, Trust Radio brings joy to lovers. Interesting. That's the front of the Daily Trust.
Let's look at the Punch. Its headline, Tinubu governors meet over food crisis as emirs. MBA lament hardship. The president governors meeting to proffer solutions. Monarchs, MBA lament economic crunch, insecurity. FD distributes free 42,000 MT grades. Ogun government rolls out over 5 billion naira intervention plans. And APO on ground as sponsors intensify training for anniversary march. Technical problems through 14 Ogun communities into darkness. IBEDC and Sanwo-Olu begins 750 million naira trader money payment. That's the picture that you're seeing right there on the top mast. Flying Wigwe, others in bad weather, wrong. U.S. aviation lawyer Adeboye Sanwo-Olu, Adeola, Adelusi, Adeluyi visit deceased parents. Every to borrow over 2 trillion via bonds, DMO.
The New Telegraph this morning is leading with a story says over 60 reps signed to return Nigeria to parliamentary system of government by 2031. They say presidential system is wasteful and retards development. The photo just below that is that of the Lagos Market Trader Money Initiative launch in Lagos State to over 15,000 beneficiaries. Hardship, federal government moves to crash food prices. They give out free 42,000 metric tons of grains. As northern traditional rulers say Nigeria sitting on keg of gunpowder. Meanwhile, the Christian Association of Nigeria tells the government to take concrete actions to address economic hardship. Tension in Benue State over influx of armed herders. And just at the top there, Tinubu seeks Senate approval of the Central Bank of Nigeria's Monetary Policy Committee. From the Chief of Staff, Femi Bajamiamila, defend student loan policy. He's charging NAN's leadership. That's from the New Telegraph this morning.
The Vanguard leads with bandits now raping our women, according to Zamfara Indigene. They are lamenting. And we are taking the right step to end it, says government. We have sponsors, suspected bandits, tell our security personnel. Okay, there were some writers to that story, very tiny print, unreadable this morning for me. Let's see if we can pick some other stories on the busy front page of the Vanguard this morning. Governor Abiodun votes 5 billion naira to tackle rising cost of food. Above the masthead, Wigwe, U.S. provides picture of crash location as Senate mourns. Edo 2024, Labour Party aspirants back state leadership's position. And hardship, we can no longer pacify our subjects, northern monarchs tell Tinubu. The front of the Vanguard for you.
And for sports-loving watchers of this program, let's look at what the Port Sports Extra is saying. The picture there of Ajayi and Hala of Cote d'Ivoire. Silent operator. Ajayi was Eagles' unsung hero at the AFCON, playing every minute for the finalists. And Toriola, WTTC, Toriola leads Team Nigeria to Korea. That is table tennis. AFCON 11. Osimhen missing. Ekon, Aino, Lukman, they make the list. And returning Chukwueze gets Milan ovation. Salah is back for the people who cannot walk alone. Talking about Liverpool in training. Madrid monitoring. Højlund of Manchester United. My encounter with Pesero, Bruce of South Africa. Immobile penalty downs 10-man Bavarians. Lazio 1, Bayern Munich 0. And African Games, Flying Eagles, Fort Cornets resume camping today.
On Business Day, a little good news for Nigerians. It's exciting times for Nigerian cocoa exporters as global cocoa prices have hit a record high. Also, electronic transfer boom unlocks 40 billion naira tax windfall. Now at the bottom there, it's a double whammy for Nigerians as heat wave worsens. Also, we're suffering as blackout widens. There's more days of excessive heat coming. That's from the NIMET office.
And the front of the Nigerian Guardian leads with Forex crisis pushing petrol subsidy to 907.5 billion naira monthly. Now, we need a lot of explanation. The federal government says we remove subsidy. We had the president say it. The NNPCL says we're not paying subsidy. How do we have a whopping 907.5 billion naira monthly for subsidy on petrol?
I think it's called, what do they call it? Recovery or something?
We've had a different description under recovery. It was called under the Buhari administration. Before they finally came out and told us there was subsidy.
Well, for all Nigerians,
we have now 7.5 billion naira.
Or up, they just want to have a good standard of living and bring down the cost of living.
Indeed. And there's a breakdown by the Guardian, and it says that average fare paid by commuters for bus journeys within and outside the city is up by 100%. That's according to the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. It also says that across many West and Central African countries, petrol price hovers between 1,400 naira and 2,000 naira. What they're trying to say is that petrol still remains the cheapest in Nigeria. Other stories on the front of The Guardian this morning. Senate begins constitution review as reps canvass return to parliamentary system in 2031. Interesting, I cannot remember the last Senate, or the last National Assembly that did not review the constitution. It's like we keep patching and reviewing, and we're spending huge sums of money on this constitution that the people still do not accept. Well, Wike places 20 million naira bounty on 3 wanted kidnappers in Abuja. Pick up a copy of The Guardian to find out who these kidnappers are. You might just be the lucky bounty hunter. A power sector between subsidy, cost-reflective tariff, and service delivery. It's a lot of issues in that sector. Out of school children, epidemic, and 68 billion naira UBEC fund. That's a story exclusive to The Guardian this morning. This and many more you can find in The Guardian.
Right, let's look at some foreign papers. We start with Daily Mail. Daily Mail says the explosion in hatred against Jews in Britain has free riders. There are hundreds of violent assaults and worst ever year. Every police force had reports of anti-Semitism. Home Secretary calls new figures utterly deplorable.
Let's take a look at The Guardian UK this morning. New ceasefire vote ramps up pressure on Keir Starmer on the second parliamentary motion calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza next week. Anti-Semitism surged in UK after Hamas attacks, The Guardian is reporting. And that leading photo there, you cannot miss it. A new era. David Harewood is named as first black president of RADA. Also, beef up hybrid rice offers novel experience. That's The Guardian UK.
A number of Thursday's newspaper lead with the figures published by Community Security Trust charity on the rise in anti-Semitism in the UK. Well, here's the front of the Times. The Times reports finding from the charity that Hamas attacks on Israel and their aftermath drove anti-Semitism in Britain to its highest level in more than 40 years. Or the paper carries a comment from Home Secretary James Cleverly, who decries anti-Semitic hatred and abuse. It also shows an image of the Queen surrounded by dames on Wednesday night at an event to mark the 400th anniversary of Shakespeare's first folio.
And just before we take a breather, let's just talk about Daily Mirror. Recruitment meltdown, NH nurses crisis, fears of health service future, student medic numbers plummet. All right, and that will be it on the review this morning of the headlines.